Hello and welcome to 1.4, which is order of operations. I'd like you to first forgive my little coffee spill up in the corner. Didn't mean to. You understand though. I need my coffee. So the first thing we're going to talk about is a few vocabulary terms that you're going to see in your book. And I also want to point out to you that when you're doing your lessons, these highlighted in yellow are important because a lot of times they match what's going on here in the vocabulary. The book also goes through several examples. It has key concepts and even more examples, which I often use during the notes. So just before you come up to me and ask the question, which I still want you to do, double check those places beforehand because it might save you a little bit of time. So first of all, we're going to talk about numerical expressions. And numerical expressions sounds like a big, scary vocabulary word, but all it is, and this is my abbreviation for a number symbol, so it represents a number or a value, and it's made up of both numbers and operations. Ops is what I call it. So a numerical expression could be something like 7 plus 11 minus 2. Those numbers are trying to express an answer of some sort. They don't have an equal sign. We would have to figure out and evaluate this numerical expression. It didn't come with an answer, okay? So it's attempting to communicate something to us. That's why it's called a numerical expression. The next thing we are going to talk about are grouping symbols. So grouping symbols, we a lot of times when we're doing order of operations just consider the parentheses, and the GS means grouping symbols here. So here, the most obvious grouping symbol is parentheses. Down here, we often don't think of the fraction sign, also called, I like this word, vinculum. The vinculum as a grouping symbol, but it is. It groups the numerator away from the denominator. So in order to solve this, we would have to do what's on top here first, which would be a 10. And then we would have to do what's on bottom, 9 minus 4, which would be a 5. You have to do those first because they're separated by this grouping symbol, like this top floor in the basement, okay? Some kids bypass that and they look at the 3 and the 9 and they say, oh, it should be a 1 and a 3. Nope, you can't go over the grouping symbol before you've done everything on top and then everything on bottom. The other grouping symbol that I didn't include here yet is the brackets. Sometimes you get brackets because you might have 2 plus and then 3 times 4 minus 2. So this bracket just shows that there's parentheses already going on here, so they put a bracket outside of that. It's just another fancy parentheses, basically. So we're going to move on to our battle plan. You didn't know that numbers have a battle plan. And the battle plan starts at the top. And you've heard of PEMDAS. And a lot of people say, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I think a lot of teachers teach it that way. You'll have to ask me separately what my friend Tim Port said that meant when I was in Algebra 1 class. He had a different acronym going on here. But for parentheses, I also want you to think of parentheses that will also include the parentheses, the brackets, and the vinculum basically is implying or saying that whatever is above me or below me should be considered to have parentheses. So I included the vinculum right here. And I put this off to the side to remind you that a lot of times the parentheses are inside what we call those brackets. So parentheses are grouping symbols. E is exponents, and we did our exponents yesterday. And then we do multiplication and division. And that just goes left to right. Since we read left to right, if you see a division sign first, then a multiplication sign, that's okay. They have the same amount of power. They are on the same level. Same thing with addition and subtraction. If you see a subtraction sign before to the left of an addition sign, just read the whole thing left to right. Addition does not outrank subtraction. They just move left to right. Now, if you see a multiplication sign and a subtraction sign, and this is to the left, you have to do this first. And we'll do some examples, okay? But I like to draw little arrows to remind myself. So this is our battle plan. Whether you move to Timbuktu or Iceland, or perhaps if we discover another world, I'm sure their mathematicians do it the same way, because you're supposed to do it with this battle plan. No matter what language you speak, if you go to any other country, if you go to Zimbabwe, they're going to use the order of operations if they are mathematicians. So this is a rather simple one, but if you look, it looks like it's 4 plus 2 to the third power. When you first look at it, you might be tempted to first add that 4 plus 2, but you can't. You have to go back to your battle plan. And you say, first of all, are there any parentheses? Nope, I don't see any parentheses. Do you? I do see an exponent though. So you have to do that first. And I see that exponent right here, 2 to the third power. So if you were to solve this, you can put me on pause and try to solve what this is and then add this on. And then take me off of pause and see if you got it right. Please show your work. All right. So when I uncovered this, the 4 stayed the same. And then 2 to the third power, we learned yesterday, was an 8. 4 plus 8. Easy. 12. Let's try the next one. I should have covered that. So now we have the vinculum, the 2 plus 18 and the 9 minus 4. So if you have this vinculum, you can't go across up and down, but you have to add the top and the bottom first. So I just went straight across and I did 18 plus 2 is 20, 9 minus 4 is 5, and this is a divided by sign. And 20 divided by 5, I hope you all know, 4. Not hard at all. So the next one is a little more tricky. We have a 6 times, in parentheses, 7 minus 5, all of that divided by 3. If you take a look at this expression, we don't know what it equals yet. We just know it's trying to communicate a number to us. We see that there is a grouping symbol that matches parentheses up here. So that's the first thing we do. So we do the 7 minus 5, which will be a 2. And so then we go to 6 times 2 divided by 3. All right, when we go through that, we do the 6 times 2 because that's furthest to the left. And that's a 12, okay? And then we bring the 3 down. 12 divided by 3 is a 4, okay? So I've got another one written here, and I'm hoping that you can put me on pause, and then I'll have the work available for you right after you unpause me. I'm going to reveal my work right now. So I went up here and I didn't see any grouping symbols, so that part of the battle plan is over. But then I went to exponents and I saw one right here. So I did 3 squared, 3 times 3, which is 9. And so then I did, I saw left to right, 378 divided by 9 should be the next one that goes. And I got a 42 when I did the division of 378 divided by 9. I did that first, and then I kept the minus 7 times 4 there. And then what I did was I moved down to 7 times 4, and I did the next step, which is 42 minus 28, and I went over here just to demonstrate that you can do the arithmetic off to the side, and I got a 14. Okay, take a look at my steps. Did you miss any along the way? Did you accidentally move to a subtraction before you did the multiplication? Always go back and read through your math battle plan. All the numbers know this is how you're going to attack them. And when you're going to attack numbers, you need to do it in the right way or they will win the battle. And we want you to win the battle. All right? So I'll put that back up. What I'd like you to do when you do this assignment is please have your composition notebook open and your battle plan handy. For the first few, I want you to go through. Are there any parentheses? Nope. Are there any exponents? Oh, yep, I see one. Okay, do that first. Now start looking through. Do you see any of these? Do all of this level first, then do all of this level. Okay, sometimes your brain will flip things around, that it'll see a 5 minus 3 and your brain is going to want to say, oh, that's easy, it's a 2. But there's a multiplication symbol you forgot. The last symbols you should see are these, if there are any in the problem. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know. This is an important one to try them, and if you're on an odd question, do a few of them and then check the back of the book to see if you're right. If your answer doesn't match, that's when I want you to go back and retry the question. Okay, that will make you a much stronger math student if you can fix any mistakes that you've made. Have fun with this one. I've always enjoyed the order of operations and your strategy for attacking the numbers, your battle plan. All right, have a fun lesson. See me if you have questions.